Hi, this is Osman. I'm an energy healer, yoga and meditation teacher, and also an entrepreneur. Please also remember to visit my website, yogawellness786.com, for more resources, current day trending discussions on leading topics from, trending and leading media sources from my perspective and the ancient sciences perspective, and also a lot of information that could be beneficial to you, as well as the services that I offer, and contact information how you can get hold of me. And also remember that my therapies are all natural therapies, and they are not a replacement for medical treatment. If you have a medical condition, please consult a qualified and licensed medical professional, right? And my therapies are not a replacement for these medical treatments, but they are complementary or supplementary to it, and it's improving your lifestyles, and also using the ancient sciences of energy transference that enhances your body's capacity to cope and battle with these illnesses, or challenges, that physical challenges or psychological challenges that you may be encountering. And also, I want to discuss the subject of a holistic approach to wellness, and your healing, or your general life habits, right? So, your lifestyle habits plays a massive role in preventing illnesses and preventing all types of psychological stresses and anxieties as well. Not all, many types, right, of psychological stresses. And so, of the psychological ailments, there are 72 categories or general types of psychoses, and many of these are inflammatory linked. And there's been scientific studies that found that the practice of mindfulness has a stress relief or calming influence in your body if practiced for a disciplined, sustained period of 6 weeks or more, right? Not massive this thing. That even there is no psychiatric drug that is more powerful, right, than this practice. So, if you practice this mindfulness, you can slowly wean yourself off pharmaceutical dependence on pharmaceutical drugs with the direction and recommendation of your doctor, right? If the doctor can see that you can slowly manage without it, and they slowly, because you can't just stop these medications, it can be dangerous to your well-being. One may need to taper off it, gradually, and you need to undergo observances and certain conditions. It's not recommended to be ever off any of these medications, right? So that being said, also, following, it's not just following mindfulness and some yoga practices like postures and breath work alone that's going to help you, right? This is very powerful additive in your life. Yes, I agree completely, but not independent of a holistic approach. Means you also need to have adequate sleep. You have to drink enough water on a daily basis. You have to have a well balanced diet. So, I'm coming from a perspective to recommend to you a well balanced diet, from having a healthy mix of foods from an omnivore perspective, right? Because I am a practical person and know that it's not possible for you to be vegan or vegetarian or whole foods plant based or whole food plant based raw, right? Which is amazing. Depends on what level you are and what your circumstances and situation is. But try to, from a holistic perspective, avoid what is agreed upon to be harmful, right? Sugar is very addictive, right? So they found in the sciences that the addictive pathway of sugar forms the same pathway, physiological pathway in the brain as heroin, one of the most addictive drugs. So they say sugar is more addictive than cocaine, right? following the same pathway as heroin. So it's not easy to quit sugar, right? But you have to control it, reduce it, and try not to rely too much on sugar-based foods like cakes and snacks that are based on that, and try to avoid addictive foods as well. Highly processed food um, like the I don't want to talk negative about any food industry itself or company, not in the company, because many of the companies are trying their best to bring forth a healthy mix between taste and health, right? So also you as a human, you want to eat food that is palatable as well, but have a healthy mix of it. So I would say that, okay, enjoy your burgers, right? Enjoy your French fries and so forth, right? But be careful, don't have too much of it. Reduce it to 20% and have very healthier or natural home cooked foods if it's possible, right? As far as possible, in its wholesome format, right? Like whole meats and whole chickens and fish and lots of, and in your plate, try to have 70% plant and vegetable kingdom, and 30% protein, right? From a varied protein sources, like one day from legumes, right? One day from fish, one day from chicken, one day once a week on red meat, right? And so forth, as a balance. And is it encouraged to eat a balanced diet, or is it encouraged to go into a vegetarian diet and so forth? So of course depends on you, right? It's going to be beneficial for you to eat. From a yoga sciences perspective, we believe in the subtle life force energy, called the Qi in the Chinese sciences, or the prana in the Asian subcontinent sciences, in the Vedantic sciences. And this is the living foods, right? Food that are alive. So means having nuts that are not processed, means not roasted and cooked, raw nuts, like whole walnuts, right? And also not something that is preserved in a sealed packet, right? You buy whole walnuts, crack them and eat them whole. And raw vegetables in a salad format, raw salads, raw broccoli, and fresh fruit, variety of fruits, and having salads and the foods from different colors, but also sleep, adequate sleep. Drink at least minimum 2 liters of water a day, preferably 2.8 liters of water a day. Me personally, I drink 4.5 to 5 liters of water a day. And now it's Ramadan, it's difficult to reach the target, but I'm hitting 3.5 liters of water, not liquids, water, right? Pure water. And I do have occasionally like a cup or two of herbal tea, right? And other than that, I'm not drinking other processed things, because once you get used to drinking water, it becomes very delicious, right? Normally, it's like such an awful tasting thing. You rather drink a Coke, right? Or drink a Pepsi, or drink a juice, or drink a sports drink, or drink a Red Bull, right? Or drink a cup of coffee, or have a nice cup of hot tea, right? Or whatever is your poison, right? And I don't drink any of those stuff, right? I drink mainly water, because I need to hydrate. My body is 70% water, right? Human is average 70% water, so it's a very important component for the functioning of my body. So I take nutrition as this thing. So also I'm on a whole foods, plant-based, raw currently, mainly raw foods. Very rarely I'm having, like maybe once a week, one meal as my treat. I may have some cooked but wholesome, like maybe a brown rice, right? Or unprocessed, whole grains, and prepared guacamole, for example, or maybe some cooked mushroom, because it's not healthy to have raw mushrooms, right? That's once a week, right? For one meal in a week, right? I'm having that, and I found because the raw foods, their life force energy is still there. I'm eating living food, right? And it's decays slower and digests better in my system, right? Because different people's system is different. Some people's stomach is more acidic and more geared towards meat, and some people's stomach is more alkaline and more geared towards plant-based foods, right? There's different people, different types of food types, right? But from a yoga perspective, yes, it's optimal, but is it practical? No, not practical. I didn't automatically come to this level. I used to also eat a lot of meat. I was, you can say, a beast. I will eat minimum 1 kg of meat at a time. And if you bring any vegetable in front of me, you'll be my enemy number one. I will not visit you again. I will not talk to you again. And, you will not be my friend. And I'll go to a place where they're offering like a mixed grill platter, right? That was my favorite type of food. And I didn't want the salad or anything, right? I just want to have the meat and maybe some hummus dip, dipping the meat into it, and not consuming any of the bread because I didn't want to be filled by bread and empty calories. I just want pure protein and meat, right? And especially red meat. I was into red meat. And when I used to consume eggs, because I'm into fitness, and from a holistic perspective, fitness is very important, right? So you want to do strength training, and protein is important, and also nutrition and vitamins, and a good source of protein, low calorie protein, is the egg whites, right? And a good source of all the building blocks of protein and vitamins and nutrients is the egg yellow, right? And for building testosterone level. So the cholesterol in the egg yellow directly transforms into testosterone, which is helping with muscle building, right? So I used to consume about 9 to 12 eggs per day, right? And I couldn't have an omelette. Three egg omelette was too little. It's like I did not eat. If I had to have an omelette, when I used to have omelets, I don't have it now, minimum 6 eggs, to feel like I had like a moderate meal, right? So I'm a yoga practitioner for almost 5 decades, and I achieved very high levels. And I'm also an energy healer. I have control over the subtle life force or Kundalini energy, right? And eating these types of foods and having advanced level experiences. So there's time and space for everything, but you also have balance. I also do physical exercises. I do strength training regularly, around 4 times a week, Mondays, Tuesdays, and as prescribed by a qualified coach. The coach that gave me my training program is a professional coach from the US with a PhD in fitness science, right? So I take my fitness, seriously, my hydration seriously, my nutrition seriously, also my supplementation seriously, what I supplement with. And everyone is different, right? Don't just self-supplement, follow the direction of your doctor, right? And also I take my sleep seriously, right? You must have minimum 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Yes, unfortunately, in the yoga sciences, sometimes my energy levels are too high, and I sometimes, make the massive crime, I would say, massive physical crime, a crime to my physical body of having less than 7 hours, right, a day, very often, and that's naughty of me, and I accept. So I'm human, right? I make mistakes, and I try to repent by not repeating it and not letting it repeat too often, and try as often as possible to have not less than 7 hours in a day. Adequate sleep. Follow a holistic approach from a yoga perspective. Adequate sleep. Fitness, strength training is important. Yoga is not going to make your muscles strong, right? You need muscle strengthening, especially when you're post 50 years old, because it helps to slow down osteoporosis and helps you to remain independent and being able to be self-reliant into your later years, when you post 75, post 70 years old, post 80 years old, reaching centenarian levels, right? So some people were very healthy, but they committed the crime of not exercising. So you don't have to take by weights and everything, at least walking 10,000 steps a day, or at least 2 miles a day of walking, right? So this is following a holistic approach. Also your thinking methodology, right? Try to be positive thinking, your mindset. You can be following all those things. If your mindset is negative, try to do some, self-motivation courses. There are a lot of courses that are free. If you don't have, you can connect with me, and I can, recommend some courses, or provide you with some courses as well, and join positive people who have positive mindsets. This has a massive influence on your holistic wellness. So try to follow holistic wellness and listen to trending topics on on holistic wellness, because this is part of your life. Don't say it's boring subject. I don't want you to become fanatical about it and go to these type of channels, on a daily basis. But go on it, on a short term basis, like once a month. Visit it, or once a fortnight, right? So I hope all this information helps you, and please remember to visit my website, yogawellness786.com, and remember to take care always.